house was empty, wrapped in silence. Only a single kitchen camera remained, staring into the void. For hours, it captured nothing but stillness, until a faint, unplaceable sound echoed through the room. The lens trembled. Something unseen rattled the walls. The sound grew sharper, like a whisper crawling beneath the floorboards. The kitchen no longer felt empty. It felt watched. Then, the refrigerator door began to move. Slowly, painfully, it creaked open by itself, shelf after shelf revealed under the dim light. No one touched it, no one stood near it. Yet, it opened. Food began to hurl itself out, milk splashing, fruit scattering, cans rolling violently. The camera captured chaos, as though invisible hands were throwing everything into madness. The kitchen floor turned into a stage for the unseen. Food spun, leapt, and swept across the room like a restless phantom. Whatever it was, the camera saw it all. Proof of a presence no one wished to believe. It was a quiet night. The man sat inside his dimly lit home, staring out through the balcony window. Beyond the glass lay a small garden surrounded by dark trees swaying gently in the night wind. At first, he thought he was alone, but then he saw him. A man in white stood motionless near the garden, his pale figure faintly glowing in the darkness. For a brief moment, he assumed it was a homeless wanderer. The stranger's movements were unlike anything human. Slowly, he raised his arms toward the sky, his hands twisting into shapes no one could recognize. His body shivered as though channeling something unseen. gestures looked like an ancient ritual, a forbidden prayer whispered in silence. It was as if the man in white was casting a spell, drawing power from the night itself. From behind the window, the man inside froze. His breath stopped. His skin crawled. The figure in white had stepped into his garden, performing his strange, haunting ritual, just a few meters away from his home. He was a famous streamer, known for exploring desolate places and chasing after the unknown. His channel was filled with haunted forests, abandoned roads, and places rumored to be cursed. Each journey drew thousands of viewers eager for fear. One night his path led him to a massive old church, standing alone under the moonlight. The towering structure loomed over him, its windows like hollow eyes staring into the dark. He set up his camera, sat on the cold steps, and began sharing his story with the audience. But then, something stirred. Behind him, one of the massive wooden doors of the church creaked open. Darkness seeped out, and within it, shadows. Dozens of black figures darted back and forth, moving unnaturally fast, without making a single sound. He turned suddenly, flashlight in hand. The beam cut through the darkness, and one of the shadows darted across right in front of his eyes. He froze, his voice caught in his throat, unable to speak, unable to move. But the shadows didn't stop. Again and again, they rushed across the church's dark halls, looping like a nightmare with no end. Overwhelmed by terror, the streamer finally gathered his gear, shut off his camera, and left the church, never to return.
SpongeBob night.
SpongeBob off.
Liam, come here. Liam, right now. What is happening? Okay, I'm calling your mom. Just stay right here.
It was a quiet evening. The mother and her young son sat in the living room, the soft glow of the television casting shadows across the walls. The boy giggled, happily sucking on the last bit of his melting ice cream bar, as if nothing in the world could disturb their peace. But behind him, something stirred. The wooden rocking chair in a corner shifted ever so slightly, just a faint movement, the kind you could almost mistake for imagination. Moments later, the chair moved again, this time stronger. It tilted, swayed, as if invisible hands were pushing it. The sound of wood scraping against the floor broke through the silence, sharp and unnatural. The mother's eyes widened, frozen in terror. The boy was still focused on his ice cream and the TV, blissfully unaware. But the chair kept rocking, harder, faster, like something unseen had claimed its place in the room. The mother's eyes widened, frozen in terror. The boy was still focused on his ice cream and the TV, blissfully unaware. But the chair kept rocking, harder, faster, like something unseen had claimed its place in the room. The man pushed open the rusted gate of the abandoned school. At first glance, the place was completely empty. No sign of life, no echo of voices. The silence was suffocating, heavy like a forgotten tomb. Inside, broken desks and chairs lay scattered across the classrooms. Dust covered everything in thick layers as if time itself had been buried here. The man felt his chest tighten, but he forced himself deeper into the building. The atmosphere grew heavier with each step. Then he froze. In the dim corridor ahead, 3, maybe 4 figures stood in a straight line. They wore white clothing, still and silent, like students waiting for a forgotten class. But something was wrong. Their faces were blurred, featureless, impossible to recognize. The man's heart pounded as he stepped closer, his flashlight trembling in his hand. Then, in an instant, they were gone. The corridor was empty again, filled only with dust and decay. The figures had vanished, leaving behind only silence and fear. Many believe those were not people at all, but the lingering spirits of the school's haunted past.
Thank you all for watching my video. If you found it interesting, please share this story with everyone. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to support me.